after that, I thought about the stars. And we went, Bob and I flew fast, very, very fast. I can't describe how fast it was. But when we went by the different planets in our system, we slowed down. And I could see the auras of those planets. And I could also hear their energy. I could actually hear their vibration. I can hear it on our planet too. Oh, by the way, our planet, his name is Gaia. Okay.
All right. So, hi, Soul Family, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Haji, and this is Amazing NDE Stories. Our guest today is David Oakford. Did I say that right? David Oakford?
Yep. Oakford is right.
Okay. Welcome, David, to the show.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good to
All
be
right. So,
here.
David, jump straight in and tell us about your amazing NDE.
Okay, my near-death experience happened when I was 19 years old. It was 1979. Um, I was hanging out. I was in a bad way in my life. I wasn't in a good place really at all. I kind of I ended up at the when I had my NDE, I was part of a group of guys that went out and all got in trouble together. We were all in Detroit, in a suburb that's close to Detroit, same suburb Eminem grew up in, Warren, Michigan. Um, and we basically did whatever we wanted to. You know how the people say that they're afraid of things that go bump in the night? Well, that was us. That was us out there. Hot summer nights, we did whatever we wanted to do, and we didn't care what happened to people. We didn't care what people thought. Just we were totally wild. And I got kind of tired of that. I had drinking problem, and I did all kinds of different drugs and stuff, and I wanted to get away from that. I wanted to move away from Detroit and get away from my friends and try to make it on my own without any of that stuff. Well, I planned to leave. I saved my money. I had some money saved up. I was going to go. I didn't have a driver's license. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go, because I lost my driver's license. And I wanted to go somewhere else, live somewhere else, get another driver's license, and just go live there. That's what I wanted to do. But the night before I was supposed to leave, I thought, well, why don't I have go party with my friends one last time, right? It was just going to be the last time. Well, I partied with them all day. We were smoking weed and drinking all day and listening to rock and roll music, all the 70s, the Doors, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, and Pink Floyd, and all those bands. We listened to music all day, and then toward the evening, I was starting to get a little bored, and I wanted something a little more. So a friend of mine went out and he got me some stuff. I didn't know what it was then. It turned out it was like a brown rock. Now that I know actually what crack cocaine is, I didn't know what it was then. I thought my friend said it was some kind of cocaine. So I took it, and it was a rock. And so I thought, well, I just have to crush it up. It's cocaine. I'm going to snort it. Right? So I did that, and I snorted about half of it. And then my friend came back and he said, "What the hell did you do?" And I told him I tooted it up. He said, "No, no, 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 no. That's not what that stuff was for." It's like, oh, he said, "You're gonna be lucky if you live through it, right?" And it's like, I didn't believe him. I said, I was invincible. Nothing could hurt me. Um, so went outside and was on the porch, standing up on the porch, trying to drink beer, and I started getting dizzy. So I sat down on the ground, and I felt a little better, but it still got dizzy. So I laid down on the ground and I passed out. The next thing I remember is I was in the car with all my friends, and they were all talking, and I could hear what they were saying, but when I tried to talk with them, they couldn't hear me at all. It was like I wasn't even there. And we went around the block in my neighborhood, went by my parents' house. I saw my parents sitting on the porch, and I tried to hide from them, and we went around the block, and there was these, and all the trees and bushes and stuff. They had these little things and little beings, like I don't know, I guess like fairies and gnomes and stuff like that. Uh, 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 um, but I saw them, and one looked directly at me. he looked when I when I saw them, I could see them just like a glimpse of them, just like just like for not even a second I could see him. But there was this one, he was a little bigger than the rest of them, and he was by this tree that I used to climb when I was growing up. And he looked at me directly in the eye, and he smiled at me. And it's like, wow, okay, I don't know what that is, but that's okay. And then next thing I know, I wake up, I'm inside of the house. I'm in this black lazy boy chair in this family room that was all it was a party room. It's an old hippie's house, right? And they had a big sound system and everything. And I'm in there. I'm in this chair, and I wake up, and I could feel these like vibrations, and I could hear these tones coming from inside of my body. I didn't know what they were, but they were beautiful. It was like it was like a symphony. It was beautiful. And then each part of it started to fade away, and until there was only one part, and then that part faded away. And I didn't know what to make of it then. And, I didn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden, the music started playing. The Doors, loud. I mean, way loud. And I love loud music. I still love loud music. And but this music was so loud, it felt like it was cutting through me. And it felt like someone was slicing me open with a knife. It was actually painful. And I couldn't take it. So I got up and went to the stereo. I tried to turn the stereo down, but I couldn't touch the volume knob. So I tried to unplug it. I couldn't touch the plug to unplug it. And it just kept playing and playing. And I got really scared. I didn't know what to do. So I called for my friends, tried to tell them to turn it down. But there was nobody in the house but me. And it was weird because I could see throughout the entire house by just thinking about each one of the rooms. When I thought about a room, I was there. And so I tried to, frantic, trying to get out of the house, trying to get away from the music. I tried to open the door. I couldn't turn the handle on the door. I couldn't open a window. Everything looked weird outside, like it was all colorful and stuff. And I wanted to go out there, but I couldn't get out of the house at all. I was trapped in there. And so I got really scared. I went into the bathroom to try to hide from the noise, right? Well, it didn't work. And I looked in the mirror and I didn't see myself in the mirror. And that freaked me out. It's like, okay, oh. So I left the bathroom and I tried going back into the family room, right? And I'm going down this hallway. I'm trying to walk down it. I couldn't walk down it. And so I fell down. I tried crawling down the hallway. I could barely move. Somehow I made it back into the room where my body was. And I saw my body laying in the chair. And that really freaked me out. I got really, really scared then. And I tried calling for help. Nobody would come. And then I thought, well, why don't I pray? I heard about prayer. I spent 2 years in a Lutheran school, seventh and eighth grade. So I knew about Christianity and stuff. I had to, it was part of the job, part of going there. And so I thought, well, why don't I try to pray? So I prayed. I asked God for help. I said, look, I really messed up here. There's, I don't know what to do. You're my last hope. Well, then I saw by the door this spirit was there. It was light. It was shimmering light. It was different colors and everything. And I saw it over by the door. And he slowed down and he turned into like a face with a body. And he had a long robe on, a light colored robe on. And he had curly hair. And he was clean shaven. And he smiled at me and he said, I'm here to help you. And I said, okay, well, how do I know who you are? And I started questioning it, and then I thought about it. It's like, well, I don't know. I pray for help, this is somebody, so maybe he'll help me, right? So as soon as he started talking to me, the music started to fade away. And I asked him how he knew about me. And he said, well, he said, I know you. He said, I've been with you all of your life. I know everything about you. It's like, okay. So he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to go outside. First thing, wanted to get out of the house. So we went outside We're standing in a driveway, right? We're not. He's not touching the ground. I'm not touching the ground. We're just like hovering there. And uh, he told me that I could do whatever I wanted to do, and that I could go wherever I wanted to go, and that he would help me, and he would help me remember who I was. It's okay. So I thought about it, and it just kind of blindsided me. I didn't know what to think. So I remember I read about the seven wonders of the world. So I said, well, why don't we go see one of those? See those. I want to see those. And he laughed at me. He said, well, he says, I can show you a couple of them. It's like, okay. So immediately we went to Egypt. And when we were there, I could see time. I could see past times. I could see all the pyramids, all in the past times when they were all in their glory. They were all white. They were beautiful, and everything was really cool there. And then I could also see at the same time. Now I can't explain that, but at the same time, I could see all the city in the current city. I could see everything, and I could see spirits in both areas. And he showed me. Well, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Spirit. I call him Bob in my book. Because I had to name him because his name was like totally complex and it wasn't something that I could pronounce. Therefore, I cannot remember it. And I really regret not remembering that. But anyway, Bob told me, he showed me where I was a boy in the past in ancient Egypt. I was a boy and I got in trouble and I made it so that I hurt a lot of people there. And I mean, hurt a lot of people, not, just hurt their feelings. People died. And I didn't know what that was, what I did. Bob would not tell me, but he said, "Yeah, I had a past life there, and the life that I'm living now, I'm living to make up for what I did in that life." He said it would be dangerous for me to know what that was. That's why he wouldn't tell me. He told me that. He told me that straight up, and uh, it was really weird. I could see all that stuff, and I didn't really understand hardly any of it. He explained to me some things about the pyramids and what they're for and how they got there and everything. But it was just it just went whoosh over my 19-year-old head. I just didn't get it. And so after that, I wanted to see some other things. So we went and we flew like about the altitude of the space shuttle, where you could see all the countries and the land masses and the oceans and everything. And he showed me that there were different places in the oceans and on land where there's the energy from the planet works, where it comes in and out, where the planet takes energy in and then it puts it out and it changes it. And that was the energy that I saw. And it was like different colors just like me and Bob were. And I could see the land masses. I could see where they're in the natural areas. They was all perfect. It was all totally beautiful. But when there were cities, that's when everything went. Went. I don't really want to say bad, but it just was not the same as the natural energy. So saw those, and then we got to like over California, and I could see like the Pacific Northwest, I could see the Southwest, and I could see California. I could see all the cities, and the energies from the cities were like different. It was like darker. It wasn't. It was kind of wild. And that's I noticed that just in California, and while we were here in the United States. Um, so I saw where there were mountains that were deforested, and that's something that we did to it to hurt the energy of the planet. There were pollution, all that kind of stuff that was all there. And then we went by the Grand Canyon, and I saw the Grand Canyon from all the view that everybody wants to see from over to the edge. I saw it from over the top, and I saw everything. And I saw it when I was a kid, so that was really cool. It was really nice going there. So one of the most beautiful parts other thing. There are other beautiful parts which I'll get to, but we saw that, and then we were going over the United States and we were talking about, and I saw these spirits. They were like me and Bob, but some were like Bob and some were like me, and then there were other spirits that were all around in the cities, and they weren't living humans. They were ghosts is what they were. They were all like earthbound spirits that stay here for could be a variety of different reasons. They might just like it here. They might not. They might be afraid of the light. They just a whole bunch of different reasons that they have that they don't go to the light. And spirits like Bob help spirits, the earthbound spirits, and Bob was helping me. So, and then we went to he explained about those. There's more to it in my book, Soul Bear: The Metaphysical Journey. I go into detail about all this stuff. Um, so we went and we got to the East Coast, and I thought about, wow, this is like really cool. I learned a lot of stuff. Wow, what about over there? I pointed to the moon. So we went over by the moon, and I saw the whole planet all in one view, and I could see the glow from a planet. It has an aura to it. You see the pictures, and they say it's blue around them. It's not just blue. It's all kinds of different colors, and the intensity of those colors depends on how we treat the planet. So, because of the deforestation stuff and all, and the pollution and all that stuff, I realized that, yeah, we got to do something about this. And I was really concerned about it. I was concerned about, the planet itself and about us and everything. So after that, I thought about the stars, and we went. Bob and I flew fast, very, very fast. I can't describe how fast it was. But when we went by the different planets in our system, we slowed down. And I could see the auras of those planets. And I could also hear their energy. I could actually hear their vibration. I could hear it on our planet too. Oh, by the way, our planet, his name is Gaia. That's what Bob told me. It's not Earth, it's called Gaia. Well, the other planets had cities of spirit on them, and they were all different. They had different themes to them. They were, the overall theme for the whole thing to learn like something having to do with emotions. Um, and I understood that we as spirits, we went through those planets, and we went through and we attained all the things that we needed to attain by going to those planets in order to have everything together to be able to come to Gaia to live here. So I saw those, and I went by them, and it's like, okay, wow, why don't we see these things? And he said, well, he says, you're different. He says, you don't have a body. You don't have the body to limits your vibration. You can see things with a higher vibration that you can't see when you're in lower vibration. That's how he explained it to me. So we went and I thought about the stars. So went to the star. We started flying toward that star really, really fast. We got up on it. It looked like a star from far away, but when we got up on it, it was like this circle, and it was spinning, and it was sucking things in. It's kind of sort of like a black hole, And I could see the center of it, and in the center it was calm, and it was a light blue color on the other side. I wanted to go through that center. I wanted to go through it with all my heart. I wanted to. And Bob picked up on that. And he said, no, I want to make sure that you're absolutely ready for what you're going to find there before you go. I have to do that. It's like, okay, so you told me I couldn't go. You told me I'm not ready. I thought about it. It's like, well, okay, I trust them. So And then I got to thinking about stuff. It's like, well, where did all this come from? Who made all this stuff? How, did someone make it? What is God? And about well, God is everything that you can see and everything that you can't see. The energy that we are, that's what God is. And once you understand about energy and about how energy is all around us and everything's made up of energy, then you'll maybe begin to understand God. It's like, okay. I said, well, what about religion? What about Jesus and stuff? And he told me that Jesus and other leaders of other religions are great masters that came here to Gaia to help other people learn to love one another and get along with each other. And it's like, okay. And then this Jesus entity came. He was total bright light, white. And he surrounded me. It's like he took me inside of him. Okay. And then his face appeared like the paintings that I saw in a Lutheran school on the wall. And it's like, okay, well, and it was only like that for just like a fraction of a second, just enough so I could recognize it. And then it was gone. It was back to the white light again. And I didn't know. I was speechless. I didn't know what to say or do. And then his voice came to me and he said, "Tell them to love one another, and all will be well." And then he left, just like that. He was gone. And then after that, I could see all the planets all in a line. They're all in a line. I could see all their auras, and I could hear all the tones that they were making. And it was like really beautiful. It reminded me of the tones that I heard coming from my body before I left it. It's like, wow, okay. Well, after that, it's like, okay, I'm totally floored. That was the most beautiful part of the whole thing. And I didn't know what to do. And Bob said, well, I know something we could do. Come with me. So we went back, speeding past, away from the star, past all the planets again, and then we went to this place that was like ascended. It wasn't on this planet. You could see this planet from there, but I could see spirits going back and forth. Like me and Bob, I could see spirits flying back and forth, going to this place. So we get there, and we came down, and there was this courtyard type of a thing, and it was a big city, and there was a house to the left that was kind of big. It was like a big 3-story house, and then to the right there was this big, huge building, a great big hall that stretched as far as you could see, and it had the buildings had plants growing around them. They were white and they had wood framings, and there were plants growing out of the wood framings on everything. It was really beautiful, and well, I didn't know what to do. And there was a well. There was a well in the center of the courtyard, and there were spirits going back and forth to the well. There was all kinds of spirits. It was a big city, and so we went into the house, walked upstairs in the house, went to 4 different rooms. There were a spirit in each one of the rooms. In every one of them were concerned that I was there. They didn't, and they talked to me. I don't remember everything what they said, but they talked to me and they were concerned that I was even there. It's like, okay. So we left there, and then we went into the big building and walked in the building, and it was a big long hallway stretches for forever. And it was this big hall that was right on the other side. And I could see there were these podiums in there, and I could see these spirits, angels, whatever, I don't know what to call them, but they were all at these podiums, and they were like writing something. It's like, okay, what is that? But then to the right, there were these double doors with golden knobs, wooden. Okay, Bob, and then there was a bench to the across from the doors. Bob told me to sit at the bench. He said, "Don't be afraid and don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. I have to go inside." So he went inside of the room. A little bit later, he comes out. He said, "Okay, it's your turn to go in now. So just when you go in there, don't be afraid and be honest if they ask you questions." So, okay. So I go in there, and it was like totally cold in there. And there were these spirits around this like horseshoe type of a table. It was like half a dozen of them. They all looked human, and I looked at them and I saw one that I knew I was there before. I knew he was there, and I knew I had dealings with him, bad dealings with him. It was one of them, and but so I got immediately got scared. Okay. Just like Bob told me not to get scared. And then they started to show me my life. They didn't show me everything in my life. They showed me everything that made me into what I was. Like, had this funny uncle. Okay. Funny uncles, nobody wants a funny uncle at all. Okay. Bad things happened because of him and because of his influence. And there was that. There was they showed me how I started drinking. When I started drinking when I was 9 years old, I had this older stepbrother that we had a wedding. Reception was in the garage of our house, and uh, he he told to his friend, he said, "Hey, let's see how good little David can handle his liquor. Let's see if he can handle it like a man. Hand me a bottle of whiskey." And I was 9 years old. Oh, I want to be a man. So glug 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 glug. Glugged it down, got totally wasted. It was my first drink. Okay. Bad that he did that. Worse that I enjoyed it. And that colored my life for the rest of my life since. Um, so there was that. And then there was, things that we did to hurt other people. Like they showed me, I stole this record album, Fog Hat record album, out of some girl's car that worked at the nursing home. Okay, she was really broke up about that record, and I saw how broke up she was about it, and I felt how she felt about it. That was just one of the examples of things that they showed me, things that that I did. They also showed me some good stuff. They showed me some stuff when I was a kid, all the innocent stuff, riding mini bikes everywhere and delivering newspapers and just having all kinds of fun. They showed me that kind of stuff too. But then we got up to the end, and they asked me. They said, "Do you think you lived a more positive life or a more negative life?" And I thought, well, I want to stay here because just the feeling there, not specifically in that room, but the whole place where I went was like, oh, I wanted to be there. It was like I felt like I belonged there, and I wanted to stay there, and I did not want to. I didn't want it to end. So I thought, well, I thought about telling them I was more positive, but that was not what they showed me. And so I thought about lying to them too, which I'm not supposed to do. Bob said, don't do that. I tried to argue my point, found myself out of that room and out of that building, and I thought wasn't discarded. There was a stone bench there. I was in there and I was alone, and it was really beautiful. It's like, God, this place is great. How can I stay here? How can I stay? What can I do? What do I say? How can I do this? And then Bob came. He said, "Well, this is what are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I want to stay here. I want to stay here. What's going to happen if I go back anyway?" So Bob started telling me some things about my life. He said that I would get married. My marriage would not be good until I learned how to handle my energy. He said that I would have four kids, which were probably the four spirits that I saw in that house, um, and I'd be sick, have the drinking problem, and I'd be sick otherwise with other things, which by bipolar disorder, so that is part of it too. He told me I would have a brown dog. Now, why he told me that, I don't know, but I did have a brown dog, and I actually had a heart attack when I had that dog. Well, I had that dog. I had a heart attack, a minor heart attack, which I can only think, it just, it's I was sick. I didn't consider myself sick until I had the heart attack. Then it's like, well, maybe I am sick. He told me stuff about that, like that, and I didn't, but when I was that age, at that point in my life, I never even thought I never even really had a girlfriend. I mean, no woman was going to want someone like me, but someone did. But but yeah, there's he told me stuff about that, and he also told me that one of my boys was going to be different than the other kids. It's going to be way different, and I was supposed to go back so that I could help him. And it's like, okay, well, who am I to stay here when someone else needs my help? So I decided to go back. There was this river there. Bob took me to the river, and he explained to me that the river is helps you forget things that you're not supposed to know when you come here to Gaia. It kind of just washes things away from you. He said that I was supposed to share my experience, and he touched me on my lips, and then he told me to dive in the water. I dove in the water, come out the bottom, and I'm in space, and I could see this glitter trail leading back down to the planet. So I followed the glitter trail back down, and I got to near where my body was, and I started making my way toward the house where my body was, so I could get back in it. And I thought about it. It's like, wait a minute, wait. Oh, I'm free. Look at all this freedom of movement I have, everything. Oh, I could go. I can still go wherever I want to go. And I thought about it. It's like, well, what about the earthbound state? They might try to influence you. That's what they do. So I thought about it. I thought, well, it'd be safer if I just went back. So I went back and stood outside the house by the gate, watched the sunrise, and I thought, wow, this is cool. I know all this stuff. This is gonna be great. So I went in the house. I did not go in through the door. I did not open the door handle. I just walked through and went into the house, and I saw my body. So I got saw my body. I didn't want to get in it, but I knew I had to. So I tried. I got back in it. I woke up, and the first thing I did was do a little self check. Make sure everything worked. Make sure my brain worked. Make sure my hands work. Make sure make sure I can smell and taste and hear. So I did that self check, and then I got up, and all my friends were all passed out on the floor. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. They're all passed out on the floor, all from drink partying the night before. And then here I come. Guys, this what happened. Started trying to tell these guys what happened, and they said, "Oh, bullshit! No, you just passed out. You didn't go anywhere. Stop your crazy talk." And I that was like my first impression from someone when I tried to tell them, and then I tried telling people all that whole day. And everybody told me, more than one person told me I was crazy. Okay. Nobody would listen to not even 5 minutes of what my story was. Nobody would listen to it at all. And after a whole day of that, the energy that I brought back with me from there went went totally down the tubes. And that night, I had a dream. Had a dream that Bob came to me in a dream, and he was talking to me. Only his voice was different, and I couldn't see him. And he started telling me things about future stuff that was going to happen. He told me that a friend of mine, and he named the friend, would die in a drunk driving accident, and I would be one of the last people who saw him. 2 months later, that friend died, and that underscored the whole thing to me. It's like, yeah, okay, it's like totally weird. I tried to forget the whole thing. I tried. I only told my wife before while we were engaged. I told her the story because she needed to know it because it's a big part of me. And I shared that with her, and she believed me. And that it's one of the reasons why I wouldn't have married her if she wouldn't have. So we did that, and then I lived my life. I didn't really say anything much about this, talk to anyone about it till like 1997 when the internet came, and I in chat rooms, and I could say, I could be any name, I could tell my story. Nobody didn't have to know it was me. So I started sharing it then, and then people asked me, more about it. Someone asked me to write it, so I wrote it, and then and that's how eventually we end up with today, where I'm here in Montana. I'm divorced now because I never learned how to handle my energy with my ex, and I live in Montana. I live in outside of Glacier National Park. There's these lodges that the railroad company built that ring the park. I work at one of the lodges. I wash dishes. I look out my window right over here. I see mountains. I see mountains every day. I live in a place where people pay big bucks to go on vacation. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at now. The story's kind of hard to tell, but that's pretty much what the
Okay.
story is. I get into like I said, I get into more detail in my book. There's a website called soulbear.com. The story is there. There's a link that you can click there to get to an MP3 file. You can download it and you can listen to it. A friend of mine will read it to you. It's free. I'm not making a killing off of this. It's not, it's not what this is. So, but but yeah, that's pretty much what my story is. And
Sorry.
thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you. I've never cried like this. For some reason, I want to cry.